So, quick part 3. Again, it's Eric Magidson with Communicating Online. Podcasts have become very popular as an audio solution of a way to communicate. For example, articles may be read into podcasts. Some people just podcast directly to give you their thoughts or opinions. I tend to listen to a lot of podcasts. It's replaced how much I read from the aspect of I tend to read a lot about technology. Now suddenly my drives to and from work or to other places can be filled with audio podcasts where I can listen. Currently I'm using my iPod and listening to podcasts about Chinese business, as you can imagine, getting ready for my trip to China. File sharing, when we talk about this, we're talking about peer-to-peer file sharing. File sharing has gotten sort of a bad name with the illegal file sharing of music and videos and stuff like that, but there are good advantages to file sharing where we can share files over the internet, but most people think of file sharing now as that illegal file sharing of downloading movies, etc., talking about things like Pirate Bay and torrents. Synchronous communication. Well, today I installed Skype. I installed Skype to my family's computer, to my laptop, so that when I'm overseas we can communicate via a video and audio solution over the web. Other types of synchronization or communication over the web, voice over IP, which as you can see is voice over internet protocol. And one great advantage of that, or example of that, is Vonage. So Vonage is where our calls actually go over as data packets over the internet. You could think of it as internet phone calls. Ben Broadband offers a voice over IP solution. Many companies do. And that's what Skype is using for the voice. So advantages of VoIP. Advantages of VoIP are things like cost effective. We can do it through to email addresses if we had the capability to do that. In the case of Skype, we just create quick user account. People can see when we're online. We don't have to do a video portion in a Skype call. We can just do voice over IP. Again, because I have an internet connection, the person I'm talking to does, there is no additional costs in doing voice over IP. It's just those voice packets are sent over the internet. Disadvantages of VoIP, well, some of these are disappearing. Lack of mobility. You can actually get a Verizon Droid phone now that has the Skype application on it to where you can use your data connection on your phone to make a Skype or voice over IP call. Quality of calls can somewhat be affected by the amount of bandwidth you have. But in a lot of cases it can be really tough to tell that you're on a voice over IP call. Backup, of course, or power. One disadvantage, if I lose my internet connection, I can no longer make a VoIP call. If my computer goes down, I can't make a VoIP call. So a lot of things can affect the calls, whereas before with the traditional phone system, you had a phone, low voltage, plug it into the wall, and off you went. Other communications, again, we can do a Skype with a webcam application, so not only can they hear me, but they can see me. We have personal conferencing or chat. Gmail comes with chat built right in to its system. Let me give you an example of that. As I bring up my Gmail, so this is my Gmail. We saw my Gmail on Outlook. This is my Gmail via the web interface. I have the ability to chat, and via my contacts I can see who's online to chat with. Doesn't look like we're going to chat with anybody right now because no one's online. Instant messaging, we're all pretty aware of that. We have AOL and Yahoo and Microsoft Live Chat, where we can do text chatting. They've also added voice over IP functionality to that as well, and in some cases even video chat to that. Texting, of course, we don't need to go much into. We've talked about that, but when we talked about texting, remember it's 160 characters. unless we use the SMS functionality, which allows more data packets and larger data packets. Actually, sorry, SMS is 160 characters. MMS is where we can do things like, think of it sort of as HTML for texting. This is where we can do things like add videos and submit pictures along and do attachments along with our text messages. And again, we're no longer limited to that 160 character limitation that's given to us with SMS. So online communication, a great example, WebMD. Everybody can go out and now diagnose what their illnesses are, etc. We have online forums and interests on certain subjects, things like that. We can communicate via message boards or in real time via chat rooms on things that interest us, hobbies, playing games, dating. Cupid.com, for example, and all those have chats, so if someone's online, you can start a chat with them right away. Social networking, we've talked a lot about it. Huge influence, Facebook and MySpace, and how we communicate. A lot of people tend to communicate with their acquaintances, friends, family, relatives, using Facebook as a primary method of communication. We have an instant messenger built into there. We also have a message system where we can send messages to where the person doesn't have to be online to answer them. And then, of course, just writing on their public wall. Communication certainly has changed for education with the internet. We can do distance education where I can communicate via voice over IP. I can create a virtual classroom where all the participants are there at a certain time in this virtual classroom. We can have a conversation just like this one that's recorded for you. E-learning, so that people that are in remote communities can learn, get degrees, continuing education, whatever's needed via the internet. So the internet really opens up the world to communication. That's a lot of the reasons why I ascertain that globalization and our economy is so fixed to the world these days, because we can now communicate in real time with just about anybody in the world as long as they have an internet connection. Wikis, or great examples, Wikipedia, the old online encyclopedia, where we can have information on subjects and subject experts can put in the information. We of course can edit it. That's why some instructors don't like it. They don't feel that the information is exact, but you will find that a lot of times these are the foremost experts in subjects that are creating wiki entries. So choosing the appropriate communication technology, as we go through this world of the internet and we talk about texting and email and this and that and other ways, who knows what's going to be next in the way of communications, voice over IP, video conferencing. Remember that I still highly recommend that the best communication is person to person, face to face. Let's not forget about that in doing our daily business and our relationships with our family and friends, etc. Sometimes I have to remind myself that it's nicer to pick up the phone than it is to just send an email. So we've talked a lot about this, so I'll go into this in brief detail with security, privacy, and ethics. The Megan Meyer case that I had you write on should open your mind to ethics and the internet. Was Lori Drew ethical interactions with Megan Meyer? So malware, viruses, infected, we all have to think about all those things as we work through and use the internet. Worms, spoofing. Is the person on the other end really who they say they are, and how can we make sure? Denial of service attacks, where we attack a server on the web so much and try to communicate with it so much that other people can't. We've talked about cybercrime. We don't really need to go into direct harvest attacks. Defenses, of course, well, think about who's sending you that attachment. Were you expecting it? Is it something you want to open? Do you have virus protection on your computer? Of course, we're responsible for protecting our passwords, backing up our computers, and we're also responsible with what we communicate over the internet. So that's it. That was Unit 3, Chapter 4, Communicating Online. See you next time.